The average person spends 8.7% more at restaurants than they actually plan to. Not because the food was too good to resist. Not because they were hungrier than expected. But because every single element of that menu, the font, the prices, the descriptions, the layout, was carefully engineered by behavioral psychologists and design experts to extract more money from your wallet before you even realize what is happening. You have been sitting at restaurant tables your entire life, thinking you were making free choices. Picking what sounds good, staying within your budget, ordering what you actually want. But the truth is far more interesting than that. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to learn exactly how menu engineering works, why certain items catch your eye while others disappear, and what restaurants do with pricing that defies all common sense. There is one technique so counterintuitive that most people refuse to believe it works, until they realize they have fallen for it hundreds of times without ever noticing. To understand how we got here, you have to go back to the 1980s. That is when a Cornell University professor named Donald Smith first coined the term menu engineering. Smith looked at menus the way an architect looks at a building blueprint, as a system with purpose. Every square inch was real estate. Every word was a tool. He categorized every menu item into 4 groups based on popularity and profitability: stars, plow horses, puzzles, and dogs. Stars were popular and profitable. Plow horses were popular but low margin. Puzzles were high margin but rarely ordered. Dogs were neither popular nor profitable. The entire goal of menu engineering was to convert puzzles into stars, to make people order the things that made the restaurant the most money, not necessarily the things people actually wanted most. This academic framework became the foundation of a billion-dollar consulting industry. Today, companies like Menu Engineers and Synergy Restaurant Consultants charge thousands of dollars to redesign a single menu. Major chains including Chili's, Applebee's, and even McDonald's have hired experts specifically to analyze and optimize how their menus influence ordering behavior. This is not a fringe practice. It is standard operating procedure across the entire food service industry. So what does that actually look like in practice? The first and most powerful tool is something called the anchor effect. Restaurants deliberately place one extremely expensive item on the menu, something most people would never order, specifically to make everything else feel reasonably priced by comparison. A $45 Wagyu steak sitting at the top of the menu makes a $28 salmon feel like a bargain. You were never expected to order the Wagyu. It exists solely to reset your mental price ceiling. Research from MIT shows that when a high anchor item is present, average order values increase by 11 to 15% compared to menus without that anchor. The second tool is strategic placement. Human eyes follow a predictable path across a page, and restaurants have mapped that path precisely. The area that gets the most visual attention on any menu is the upper right corner. This phenomenon, known as the sweet spot, is where restaurants place their highest margin items. Not the most expensive items. The most profitable ones. That distinction matters enormously. A $20 pasta dish with a food cost of $3 is far more valuable to a restaurant than a $50 steak that costs $30 to produce. But here's what nobody talks about. Removing dollar signs from a menu measurably increases spending. A Cornell study found that diners spent significantly more when prices were listed as plain numbers rather than currency figures. The dollar sign triggers what psychologists call the pain of paying. It activates the same part of the brain associated with physical discomfort. Remove the symbol, and that psychological friction disappears. You are no longer spending money. You are simply choosing a number. Descriptive language is another weapon in the menu engineer's arsenal, and it is far more effective than most people assume. A Stanford study found that items with evocative descriptions sold 60% more than the same items listed with basic names. Crispy golden fingerling potatoes with herb-infused aioli and smoked sea salt outsells French fries every single time. The words are not just marketing fluff. They activate sensory processing in the brain, making the dish feel more experiential, more premium, and therefore worth more money. Restaurants that use descriptive language also receive higher customer satisfaction ratings even when the food itself is identical. Nostalgia-based descriptions are particularly powerful. Phrases like grandmother's recipe, slow cooked for 12 hours, or made with love the old-fashioned way trigger emotional responses that override price sensitivity. When you feel emotionally connected to a dish, you stop calculating value and start pursuing experience. That shift is enormously profitable for the restaurant. The third major technique involves visual hierarchy and box design. High-margin items are frequently placed inside subtle visual boxes or highlighted with a different background color. The human eye is drawn to anything that visually breaks from the pattern around it. That boxed item was not highlighted because it is the chef's favorite. It was boxed because a consultant determined it carried the best profit margin on the page. Studies show boxed items see order rates increase by anywhere from 20 to 30% compared to unbounded items listed directly above or below them. Photographs are another powerful lever, but restaurants use them selectively and strategically. Too many photos make a menu feel casual or low-end. Too few miss out on visual persuasion. The sweet spot, used by chains and upscale casual restaurants alike, is 1 or 2 photographs per section, placed next to the highest margin items. A single beautiful photo of a dish increases its order rate by 30% on average. Chain restaurants like Olive Garden and TGI Fridays have entire photography teams dedicated to shooting menu images that are engineered to trigger craving. Portion language is something most diners overlook entirely. Words like generous, hearty, and overflowing prime your expectation of value before you even see the dish. When your perception of portion size goes up, your price resistance goes down. A dish described as a hearty portion of slow-braised short ribs commands a higher accepted price point than the same dish described plainly. The food has not changed. Your willingness to pay has. Now let us talk about the decoy effect, because this is where menu psychology gets genuinely fascinating. Restaurants frequently list items in groups of 3 at ascending price points: a small, a medium, and a large. Or a basic version, a premium version, and a deluxe version. The middle option almost always represents the best margin for the restaurant. Research shows that over 60% of diners choose the middle option when presented with this structure. The top-tier option exists not to be selected but to make the middle option feel responsible and reasonable. You think you are being prudent. You are actually being steered. Wine lists operate by the exact same principle. Most restaurants place their most profitable wine, not their most expensive, as the second cheapest option on the list. Diners who want to avoid appearing cheap will skip the bottom option but feel the second lowest represents thoughtful value. That wine typically carries a markup of 300 to 400% above wholesale cost. The deeper you look at menu design, the clearer it becomes that the restaurant experience is not neutral. Every decision at the table, from what you order to how much you spend, is the outcome of months of psychological research applied specifically to your behavior. The fonts, the lighting, the music tempo, and the menu layout all form a single system with a unified goal. You are not just a guest in the restaurant. You are a target in a very sophisticated persuasion environment. What can you actually do with this knowledge? Awareness genuinely helps. When you know the upper right corner is the profit sweet spot, you can intentionally read the full menu before your eye settles. When you recognize a price anchor, you can mentally reset your baseline. When you see a boxed item, you can ask what is not in a box. None of this means you should stop enjoying restaurants. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Flavor Vault for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.